Hello friends, in this lecture I will be speaking on mutation breeding. Mutations are the sudden heritable changes which occur in the genotype of an organism. There are two types of mutations, the spontaneous one and the induced one. Induced mutations are those which are induced by the human intervention according to the human wish. Rest of other mutations you can group them under spontaneous mutations. For inducing mutations, various chemical and physical agents are used. Those are called as mutagens. And these mutagens have been immensely useful in breeding plant varieties of various types. In last 100 years, we have bred about 3000 of mutant varieties of various groups of plants, including cereals, horticultural plant, pulses, oilseed crops and others. One of the important aspects of induced mutagenesis is determination of the LD50 dose or concentration of the mutagen. LD50 dose or concentration is defined as the concentration or dose which will damage the plant for about 50%. You can consider germination percentage as the for calculating LD50 dose, or the seedling height, or the vigor index. Commonly used mutagens, although there is a long list of mutagens, there are base analogues, there are intercalating agents, there are ionizing agents, non-ionizing agents, alkylating agents. There is a long list of mutagens. But as far as mutation breeding is concerned, X-ray, gamma ray, which are classified as the ionizing physical mutagens, they are commonly used. Similarly, under chemical mutagens, alkylating agents like ethyl methensulfonate or diethyl sulfate, these are commonly used. Apart from that, sodium azide is also used in mutation breeding. The basic structure of mutation breedings involves induction of mutation, which occurs in M1 generation. In this generation, you also assess whether the mutagenization is effective or not by screening for the cytological damages or the physiological damages, and you self these plants as well as you harvest these plants individually. The seeds obtained from these plants are used to raise the M2 generation. This generation is raised plant to row basis, and this is the generation where you can actually see the mutation, because mutations are mostly recessive. Almost all the mutations are recessive, and that's why in M1 generation they are under heterozygous condition. In M2 generation they come in homozygous conditions, and that's why they are expressed. And in this generation you screen for all sorts of mutation. You can screen for a morphological mutant, you can screen for a biochemical mutation, and once you screen, you identify that particular mutant and then you isolate it as a putative mutant. This putative mutant is confirmed in the M3 generation, where again you grow the progenies on plant to row basis, you again confirm it, and once the mutant character is confirmed, you isolate it as a mutant, confirmed mutant, and then you process this mutant accordingly. So I shall describe in a nutshell a typical procedure. Depending upon the plant species you are working with, its breeding system, you have to make modifications, but this is a very typical technique which is adopted for mutation breeding. First of all, you determine the LD50 dose. I have already told you. Based on that LD50 dose, you have to select the dose. Generally, people will select the LD50 dose and they will select one dose less than the LD50 dose and one dose higher than it. So typically 3 doses or concentration of mutagens they are selected. At this dose or concentration, you treat the seeds with the mutagen. Now I am using the word seed because most of the crop plants, they are propagated through seed. Depending upon the crop, if it is vegetatively propagated, you have to treat that particular propagule. So it will vary. The propagule of the plant will vary. So you treat the propagule with the mutagen at a appropriate dose or concentration. Once the propagule is treated, then most of the seeds, they are sown in the field along with the control in various plots, in the experimental plots, and each plot will have a control. This population will give rise to M1 generation. Few seeds you germinate in the lab to study the effect of mutagen on the mitosis of the it is one of the way to confirm whether your mutagenization has been successful or not. Now this M1 generation has several characteristics which helps you to confirm whether your mutagenization has been successful or not. First of all, that characteristic feature is that the death of seedlings and the young plants occur. So the mortality rate in the treated population is high compared to the control. Then you can also find stunted growth in the treatment population. Few plants you will observe which are stunted in growth. Then you can also find morphological and the developmental abnormalities in the plants. Then you will also find the chlorophyll chimeras. There would be various streaks or sectors, mostly on the leaf, but they can be on the stem also if stem is herbaceous. So you find the chlorophyll chimeras of various sorts. Occurrence of those is also indication that your treatment is successful. And in this generation, as I have already told you earlier, that mutation might have occurred, but since it is in recessive condition, since the mutations are recessive, they are in heterozygous condition, they won't be expressed. Here you can see one of the types of morphological abnormality, fused leaves. Then this is a chlorophyll chimera. Here you can see the yellow, golden yellow, the whole leaf is golden yellow. Here you can see some sectors are there. So this is a xantha sort of chlorophyll chimera. Again you can see a sector of greenish yellow, right? So this is chlorina. This is the morphological abnormality. The leaves are malformed. The inflorescence is also malformed. This is also one sort of morphological abnormality, a malformed inflorescence. Then you can also find the morphological changes. Here you can see the shape of leaf is changed. The size of head has also changed. As I have told you, mutations are recessive. And that's why you cannot isolate even putative mutants in M1 generation. So the change what you see is mostly it is a chance that it is a physiological disorder. But in a very rare cases, exceptional cases, you can also identify mutants in the M1 generation. It will occur only when the mutation is dominant, a very, very rare case. A mutation is a double recessive. Both the alleles of the plant are mutated at the same time and they have become recessive, and that's why they are double recessive. Or if whatever mutation has induced, it has abolished the or it has created the epistatic or the inhibitory effect. Then only you can observe mutants in the M1 generation. So M1 generation plants are allowed to grow, they are selfed and harvested individually. Then the seeds obtained from M1 generation, this M1 plants, those seeds are sown in the next season on plant to row basis. Here you have to keep the size of M2 population as large as possible. The large you keep the M2 population, more are the chances that you are able to isolate the mutant. Now here, since you have self the M1 plants, when the meiosis goes on in that M1 plant, and when the two gametes carrying the recessive or the mutated allele they fuse, they will give rise to a homozygous recessive mutant plant, which will be expressed over there. So here you have to screen for isolation of mutants. So in M2 generation you are screening the population and ultimately you isolate a putative mutant. So for screening you have to use some technique, and what technique you are going to use, it depends on the trait. If it is a morphological trait, then it is simple, only visual observation will do. But if it is some biochemical character, then you need to have a quick and reliable procedure to screen that biochemical mutation. So the whatever procedure you adopt, it should be quick, it should not consume lot of time, but it should give the reliable results. Once you screen the population, you will tag that plant as a putative mutant and self it and harvest it individually. Now here you can see the putated mutants which were isolated in M2 generation. So these are the early bolting mutants, these are the late bolting mutants. Here you can see putative mutants. Now the large head mutant, here you can see the control, the size of head, and here in the mutant. Once you isolate the putative mutant, it is selfed as I have told you and harvested. The seeds of this mutant are sown in the next generation to raise M3 generation, again on plant to row basis. This population is critically evaluated, a ruthless selection is done, and only superior plants are selected, they are selfed and harvested individually. So M3 generation gives you the confirmed mutants, which are sown in the M4 generation, again plant to row basis, selection done, selfed, again harvested, and in this way in 2 to 3 generations the mutants are purified. Once they are purified, they are taken to the field trials, they are evaluated over there against the parent and the check variety, and if they are found suitable, then they can be used in crop improvement. Either they can be released direct as a variety, or if not, they can be crossed with the popular variety and the progenies can be selected. So friends, you have seen a very typical procedure to carry out the mutation breeding. The most advantage of mutation breeding is that firstly, you can use that technique even if the biochemical and the molecular information of a character which you want to select is not known. Second thing is that it is a quick procedure to develop a improved variety where you have to improve only 1 or 2 characters in a otherwise well adapted varieties. So friends, thank you for now. Bye.